Okay, we're gonna try this. So, well, some of you know me, you maybe not, but like I deal a lot with people who claim to have telekinesis ability. You know what telekinesis is? Like moving something with your mind. Yes. So here's what I'm gonna attempt to do. Right now, we'll see how that works. I got a shooter glass or shot glass from the ball and a spoon. Regular spoon, regular thing from the bottom. I'm just gonna try to put this here. Maybe balance it. And I'm gonna try to move it with my mind. You can see them, you can see the spoon. We'll try. Why did I get a fight? Then if you want to touch it now.
No! I saw you.
Alright, welcome back to Magic Isn't Real, the place where I try to replicate the claims of the supernatural with my very natural skills. Today I want to talk about a possible way to test telekinesis. But I find myself a little bit in a conundrum. I have a little bit of a struggle because you see, there is a person who has been commenting on this channel a lot. Like, this person has left a myriad of comments. A myriad? A large indefinite numbers of comments on this channel. Some I have responded to, some have disturbed me, I'll be honest, and some I simply did not read because I have a life. Anyway, this same person even went to the trouble of creating a YouTube video addressing me personally on their own channel. And honestly, I like that. I like that a lot. In my book, one YouTube video is worth a myriad of comments. Why I cannot say this word, just use something else. One YouTube video is worth 1,000 comments. So naturally, I want to respond to that video with my very own video. And I'll admit, this took way longer than it should have been, but again, I have a life. But hey, here I am, right here, right now, ready to respond to your video. Except, here comes the struggle. Right when I was about to, I was ready, I was writing the notes for this video and I was about to shoot it, and then I opened YouTube and I found this comment from you. I've set a lot of videos today on my channel to private due to IRL harassment, and I'm thinking about just setting the entire thing to private or list anything with my voice. Okay, the rest of the comment could actually potentially trigger the YouTube gods and they could block this video, which is infuriating YouTube. Let's start from the very basics of it. I do not condone any form of harassment whatsoever. I don't know what's going on in your life. I don't know why you're being harassed. I just want to say that this channel does not condone any of that, and it will never will. This is never the purpose of this channel. Harassment doesn't solve anything, and it never did, and it never will. On the other hand, upon reading the rest of this comment, if you're not trolling me, and I hope you're not, because if you are, this is not funny and it's despicable that you would say certain things if they're not real. But it appears, if what you're saying is true, it appears that you seem to be in a very dark spot at the moment, and I feel like really sorry for it. I hope you have someone you can talk to, and I hope that it's just a moment and it will pass. Now, I don't want to speculate on why you are in this state of mind these days. So the rest of what I'm about to say is not really addressed to you. It's more something that I want to say because I notice a pattern, especially when you have a certain set of beliefs in your life and you get to a point, and again, I'm not saying this is you, I'm just talking in general. When you get to a point where you just simply, I don't want to use the word force. You're forced to abandon those beliefs. You're not really forced, but when you get to a point when you realize that maybe those beliefs are wrong, you're gonna get to a dark spot. It's just unavoidable. Not all, but like most people who suddenly change the way you see the world, it's impossible not to get to kind of like a very dark spot. It's like a curve. It will go down. You're changing the way you think about everything, so it will go down. It's just unavoidable. Again. I'm not saying this is you. I'm just talking in general. I'm just assuming from what I read. I want to tell you a personal story real quick. So I have a friend. It's a very dear friend of mine, and sometimes we talk about this type of stuff, and I ask him like, oh, what do you believe? He's not really a believer. Like, he doesn't believe in a god or in supernatural powers or anything, but he does believe that there's gotta be something more than this, than just the flesh. Like, just being meat sucks or whatever you want to call it. Like, he just, like, sometimes I ask him, like, what do you believe that? And he goes like, oh, because there's gotta be something else. And I'm like, why? And he says, oh, because, it can't just be it. Like, if there's nothing else, then what's the point? And I'm like, what do you mean, what's the point? The point is whatever you make it a point. And he just goes like, no, but like even us as human, we just have to be just more than this. And I remember once we were having this exact conversation. It's something that happens every 30 years. We have the same conversation. I feel like we're stuck in a loop. So one time I wanted to kind of break this loop, and I asked him, listen, what is your favorite superhero? And he goes, Batman. And I'm like, why do you like Batman? And he says, because he's just a man. So you like Batman because he's just a man. Because he can do everything just by himself. He doesn't need any exterior force or any superpowers to be the best he can be. But at the same time, you're afraid to accept this knowledge that we're just this. And I remember he was like laughing, and I feel like he almost wanted to change his superhero choice, but it was too late. So anyway, my point is, this is amazing. We don't need the source or God or the universe. What we can do just as human is not like calling it just a meat sack. It's so just dumb. Anyway, so after reading your comment, I almost decided to scrap this video completely, but then I changed my mind. Your video addressing me actually brings up some very interesting point that I think it might help not just me and you, but like a lot of people who are into this research of the telekinesis and the supernatural. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna respond to your video, but I will alter the voice so that people cannot recognize your voice, and I will not show the video. So this way, this video basically comes from an anonymous source, and I just want to react to it and respond, and I think we have wasted already way too much time, so let's just get straight into it. Let's go.
Over the last day or two, I've been watching and commenting on videos on a YouTube channel called Magic Isn't Real.
Oh yes, you have definitely been commenting on my channel a lot.
And I just want to say that I actually really appreciate this channel, not because he's a skeptic. Technically a flat earther is skeptical of the earth being a sphere. Everyone can be a skeptic, doesn't mean anything.
Okay, wait, well, hold on, slow down, pump the brakes, because I completely disagree with what you just said. I hate this so much, and it's not your fault. This is not you. I don't hate you, this is not an attack to you. This is what this grandmaster / guru / conspiracy theories, whatever you want to call them, this is what they have done. They have distorted the definition of skeptics so that they can use it as a tool to like distract you in a debate. You will be debating like evidence or like claims, and they will be like, oh, you're just a skeptic. Oh, don't be a skeptic. Technically, a flat earther is a skeptic. Like, no, absolutely not. It's just a way for them to distract you. Being a skeptic, atheist, agnostic, materialist, whatever you want to call it, shouldn't matter when we are analyzing a claim or evidence. But since people keep bringing it up, at least let's try to bring it up correctly, because being a skeptic means having a questionable attitude towards a claim until proper evidence is being presented. It doesn't mean reject everything, just deny everything, just say no to everything, just don't listen to anybody. Also, ideally, until proper evidence is provided, a skeptic should remain neutral. The fact that someone calls himself a flat earther, it's already not being neutral, because you already picked a position. Therefore, you're not actually a skeptic. Also, because there's tons of evidence, a myriad amount of evidence that goes against your position that you have already picked when you started. While a skeptic should be, again, neutral. As a matter of fact, if proper evidence never shows up, a skeptic should always remain on the neutral side. And I know what you're thinking. You probably go like, well, that's your definition of skeptic. No, no, it's not. It's literally what a skeptic should be. Boom.
I don't want anyone to believe anything based upon authority or tradition or whatever. I want people to find out for themselves.
Alright, so you see, the concept of like doing your own research, unfortunately, has also been distorted, especially in the past like couple of years, if you know what I mean. But that doesn't mean that it's not valid. The problem is that I feel like most people do not know how to do proper research, and that's when everything goes to shit. Listen, including me. I sometimes, who am I kidding? Most of the times I also don't know how to properly research a subject, which is why I have to rely on others. Besides that, I agree. I 100% agree with you. I don't want anybody to just believe for the sake of belief, especially especially if it comes out of tradition. Man, tradition is the worst. I hate tradition. You know what? Let's not even go there. We agree on this point. Moving on.
And I really appreciate his channel for exposing how a lot of people are self-deluding regarding PSI wheels, paper, feathers, things like that, which are easily moved by a little bit of wind, a little bit of heat. These are terrible demonstrations for telekinesis.
Oh, what? No. Why did you cut back to me? I got nothing to say. I totally agree. The PSI wheel is a scam. I said it in many videos. I completely agree with what you just said. There's no, yeah, I have no jokes, no notes. Thumbs up. Keep rolling.
I've already asked this a few times, but if you are watching this, Magic is a Real Guy, please do a video on how to do a better experiment with telekinesis. If not to prove it to you, then at least to do it for oneself in a way that you won't be deluded. You know, we don't want doors swinging shut or objects balanced on a rope or anything like that. We need something that is not going to be influenced by environmental variables. It needs to actually be a good experiment where the mind itself is a moving object.
You have been asking this question for a while on my channel, and you made a whole video asking the same question. And honestly, I only now just realized that I misunderstood what it is that you're asking me. Because in my brain, I thought you were asking me a way that we can basically stop someone from cheating. So my answer was going to be something about, you know, control environment and like making sure that the participant doesn't have any gimmicks, you know, is not hiding any gimmicks, you know, making sure that the participant doesn't bring his own object to the test, making sure that the participant doesn't get anywhere close to the objects before the time of the test, you know, that making sure that he's not putting like, that he doesn't grab an object and he makes it balancing on something, make sure that he's not breathing, make sure that he's not hiding invisible string or magnets or any. I thought that's what you were talking about. And that's what my answer was going to be. But I now realize, upon reading your comments again and upon watching the video multiple times, I now realize that you're asking me for a method that you can use for yourself to find out if you're actually performing telekinesis. To put it in simple terms, so basically you heard me screaming many times that the PSI wheel is not a good tool to prove telekinesis. And now you're like, okay, we heard you. What is a good tool then? And I'm like, well, I don't know. Yes, so I feel like saying I don't know because I'm not sure of what telekinesis is even supposed to be at this point. Let me explain. Let me tell you what I mean. Ideally, if telekinesis is real, this is a question that shouldn't even be asked. Like you said in your video before, that like, oh, someone could say, oh, I believe I can lift 100 pounds. But can you actually do it?
Like you can say, I believe I can lift 400 pounds. Okay, so can you actually do it?
That's your answer right there. I know what a backflip is, right? And then I can go to like a gymnastic coach and he can teach me how to perform a backflip. And then I see it, I know what it is, I understand the logic, I understand the methodology, and then I do it for myself. A couple of times I land on my neck, hopefully on a mattress. Then I start landing on my feet, then I remove the mattress, and then I can finally do a backflip and land it, and I know I can do a backflip. And that's how I prove to myself that I can do a backflip. Telekinesis doesn't seem to have this option for some reason. So now we have to ask the question, how does one prove it to itself? And it's very difficult if we don't have the basic of what telekinesis is even supposed to be. Like, is it a real force that we haven't figured out yet? Is it something that is supernatural, legit, there's a source or whatever? Or is it really an aspect of quantum physics that we haven't discovered yet? I don't know what it is, but we can start simple. I said many times the PSI wheel is not a good tool, right? So let's analyze why the PSI wheel is not a good tool, and then maybe let's try to find out another tool that could be basically the opposite of a PSI wheel, that it could be a starting point from you or anybody who wants to test this from themselves. Like for example, PSI wheel most of the time is made of paper or a material is very light, which means anything, the slightest breeze can move it. On top of that, this tool is balancing on a needle, and an object that is balancing on such a small, like on a needle, is just potential energy. Any any vibration on the floor could make it move or make it fall. So just according to this thing, not to mention changes in temperature can make it spin, because the way it's shaped like kind of like a pyramid or whatever, which means that it will capture any sorts of current that would make it move. So what I would say is like, let's go for something that may be shaped like a cube. You know, a cube is a solid base, doesn't have to balance anything. You put it on the table. Now it's not made of paper. Paper is too light. I don't want it to be too heavy. So like maybe a wooden cube that you put on the table and you move assumingly with the power of your mind. I think that would be a good start. Okay, so now I don't suddenly want to see 1,000 videos of people moving a wooden cube on the table, because as magician we could cheat that. I'm not saying this is going to be the ultimate test to prove telekinesis. I'm genuinely believing that you're not a cheater, that you want to prove it to yourself. So I would say this is a good start. An object that has a solid base, so it's not balancing, as a nice weight, so it's not moving just with air or vibration. And the most important thing of all, I would say, is consistency. Train yourself. I don't know what you need to do, but move it with consistency and make sure that it's moving for the reason that it's moving. Do negative tests, not just positive. What I mean by that is see if the object move even when you do nothing. And again, I'm pulling, like right now, I just is on the top of my head. As I said, I don't know. Like I could tell you why the PSI Wheel is not a good tool, but I cannot tell you what's a good tool. I'm sorry, that's simply how it is. Here's the biggest catch, which might be a problem for you, because I noticed in some of the comments, and I don't want to go into details and I don't want to speculate. Listen, you have left a myriad of comment on my channel, and yet I don't know who you are. I don't know what kind of person are you, so I can only speculate from what I've seen. And here's something that's important. You won't be able to do this alone. You need to bring other people into this. I know you're trying to convince it for yourself, but like you're gonna need to convince others in order to convince yourself as well. To all of you there, first of all, thank you so much for watching this video. And let me just tell you, I know this looks like a video that's directed to one person, but trust me, it's not. I get comments and questions like this all the time. And also the idea, the concept of how do one prove something to themselves, it's been debated for centuries. And I'm sure it's gonna come back to this channel a myriad more times. Yeah, this video is not just for one person. This video is for a lot of us, including me. And it's a conversation that I really like, and I really like that we can debate this. So thank you so much for watching. Please consider like, sharing, subscribing, and leave more comments with this type of question. And if you're still here watching, show it to me that you're still watching by commenting myriad or myriad in the comment section. And I shall see you next time. Peace out.